Shalom, aloha. So the new moon has begun yesterday, and I did not do the activation yesterday, but I'm doing it right now. And the energy of the new moon usually is felt a couple days before and lasts a couple days after. So we're very new right now. We're feeling fresh. We're at the beginning of this lunar cycle. And it's a Pisces new moon. We are now in Pisces season. So while you're tuning in, just go ahead and let go of whatever thoughts you've had on your mind this morning, all week maybe, things you've been carrying with you for months maybe. Whatever it is, just ask it to take a seat for this moment, for this here now moment. We have to create a space for the answers to come in if we want to receive them. If we're so busy thinking about the same things we've been thinking about for days or weeks or months, we won't hear the whisper of intuition as it speaks to us right now. So just for this moment, go ahead and put it down. Take some deep breaths. It's good to see you guys tuning in. Blessings, peace, shalom, aloha. So I'm just going to give thanks in advance for the magic that is about to unfold due to our coming together, opening this special portal on this new moon, thanking the faces of the one in advance, our shared archetypal alliance, giving thanks to these sources of energy at the root of creation. The energy is present in all of existence, in all of creation. Thank you. So, what do we want to know about this new cycle? We want to be activated, right? That's what these videos are, they're activations. So, what do we want to accomplish for the new moon activation? It's always the same. It's always about the new beginning, wanting to know how can we put our best foot forward? What information could help us to move through this beginning stage of this lunar cycle in the best way possible, with the most grace, with the most efficiency, without crisis? And the answers are already within us, but when we do this together, it helps to eliminate those extraneous details, those extraneous thoughts from our minds, so that we can have only those thoughts in there that are actually going to be helpful. Just kind of clear out all the extra stuff, the unnecessary stuff, or perhaps even the contradictory stuff that could get in the way of us manifesting that perfect path to truth, to success, attainment. That's why the cards help. They help us to just kind of refine the image in our minds. So, what are some questions we want to ask? What is this cycle going to bring to us? What lesson are we going to learn? What challenge are we going to experience? The challenge being the chariot when we perform the necessary tasks to get through those challenges. What is the ally force that will help us the most through this part of the cycle? Go ahead and connect to the deck however you want to, however you know how. You can do it visually. You can close your eyes and you can see a string of light connecting your third eye to the deck, connecting your hands to the deck as though you're touching it. You can even feel it. You can pretend you're right here next to me in this room. You can call the cards into your heart and watch in your third eye as they dissolve into your heart. Whatever you want to do, just connect how you know best. All right, so what is the current challenge, which when we succeed, when we transcend this challenge, will be the gift and the bridge to the future? What is this for? What is the foundation of this cycle? And who is our ally? All right, let's start with boom, the challenge. Oh, and right away a major arcanum card. Death. 13. 13th card of the deck. Transformation. This is the current challenge, and then Chariot. Anytime we learn something in life, immediately a challenge follows. A very real one. Maybe not just one, but many. Once we learn a lesson, everywhere we turn, there will be these opportunities to show what we learned, to prove to ourselves that we actually learned it, to integrate the wisdom that we learned. True gnosis. And once we do go through those challenges and we transcend them, we rise higher than ever before. That process is explained by the 5, 6, and 7 of the major arcanum in the tarot. The 5 is the Hierophant, the 6 is the Lovers, and the 7 is the Chariot. The Hierophant describes the part where we attain the knowledge. The Lovers, the 6, is then the part where we are faced with the challenges that reflect that lesson in a world of duality. And so we go through that challenge and hopefully rise to the 7, the Chariot, ascension. So with that being said, how does that relate to the challenge right now? This challenge hopefully leading to the Chariot. If this is our challenge, then what are we being tested for? What are we trying to prove to ourselves if right now the challenge is the Death card, which is transformation, really? We must have learned some new information about ourselves. We're being challenged to let go of an old part of ourselves, an old part of our lives, so that we can create space for the new to emerge. New life. We must have learned some valuable information in this last cycle. We must have reflected on parts of ourselves that no longer make sense anymore. Things that maybe we thought were such a deep part of us, but are no longer a part of us. So if this is the challenge, the transformation is the challenge, then what is the Chariot? What is the reward? A fresh start, a fresh beginning. New life, new you, new thoughts, new experiences, growth. Let's look at the foundation for this cycle, for this lunar cycle. Why are we going through this challenge of transformation right now? Why are we being called to go through such a big transformation right now? And now we have an Ace of Cups. This is already 2 out of the 3 cards, super powerful. It's all for the Ace of Cups, which is the overflowing cup, the overflowing heart, unconditional love. And something I see huge right now in my mind's eye is that it's about unconditional love for the self, for you first. As you go through this shift, as we go through this great transformation, it's so that we can fully have compassion for ourselves and unconditional love for ourselves as we shift and grow and change. It might take so long to get to that place of self-love and self-care and self-acceptance. And then boom, that old self dies and a new self is desperately struggling and trying to emerge. And then what? then we have to love that version of self. So what's the lesson behind that? How can we make that process more graceful? What I see is that perhaps we could make that process more graceful when we realize that the self we must love first is the one that never changes. The eternal self that connects all of us, that never actually dies. The self beyond the illusion of death. When we can really love that self, then we can love our connection to all of life. We can love all parts of ourselves. We can love others as a part of ourself. Then it wouldn't be so difficult every time we shift and grow and change, shedding ego after ego, shedding layers. It wouldn't be such a huge process to get to re-know ourselves, to re-love ourselves. No, we would just love ourselves through it all. It's like with your greatest friends or your family. You love them always, no matter what is shifting on the outside, in the physical realm. You just love them so much that that love never stops. It's never on hold. It's never on pause. But it's funny how we do that for ourselves. I mean, we don't even realize it. We have these moments where in between the self-love that we work so hard to cultivate, it's all gone. And we self-loathe. But we can't do that. The love needs to be more consistent. It needs to come from a deeper place if we want it to be truly sustainable and flowing effortlessly. And that's the key, to get all energy flowing freely and effortlessly. In the Tao, this is called the Wu Wei, effortless effort. This is the way of our consciousness, because our consciousness is of an intelligent design and it wishes to use no more or no less than the exact amount necessary to carry out divine operations as the divine plan unfolds. So how can we take this idea of efficiency and apply it to self-love? How can we lock in our self-love in a way that is self-sustaining? We can do it by loving our true eternal nature. By loving the self that is behind the changing self. Love who you really are underneath it all. And who is our ally as we move through this challenge of transformation? Ooh. 7 of Swords. And swords, like all things, the message begins in the mind and then manifests in the physical as a challenge usually. Swords are usually challenges, obstacles. And this one specifically is about deception. Walking on eggshells, moving carefully, moving with strategy, watching your back. I want to say the best way to relate to this message, like always, is to see everything as self, everything as one. So don't begin to think, when I say deception, of others who might have deceived you. Don't waste your time with that, because that would all be based on assumption. And we don't want to just jump to assumptions. We want to work with what is real and what is simple and what is practical. So let us consider this. How have we perhaps deceived ourselves in the past? And how can we protect ourselves from all deception simply by staying true to ourselves? Because that is our only responsibility. And that is all we have control over, is our own response to the universe. So if we live in a vibration of truth, honesty, clarity, strategy, then we don't have to worry ever about being deceived, because we've done all we can do. Do your best, let God do the rest. This is so very true, always. You don't have to worry about another deceiving you or someone else hurting you if you only focus on not hurting yourself, not deceiving yourself. Be honest with yourself, which means inside and out. Be honest in your thinking. Be honest in your speaking, in your acting, in all of your actions. Be honest with others in reflection of your own self. They are you. They are one with you. And if you do this, then anyone else, any seeming other who attempts to deceive you, it's not your problem. It will be very clear and very obvious if and when the time comes that you're being deceived, because you will live in such a pure frequency of honesty that frequency of deception will stick out like a sore thumb. And you'll be able to so gracefully avoid it if and when it were to occur. So why worry about that now? That's what this ally wants us to know, that we don't need to. In fact, we really shouldn't. We shouldn't worry about others deceiving us. Worry about who's going to hurt us or what's behind us that might stab us in the back. What is that vision going to do for us? What is that feeling going to do for us? It's paranoia, obsession, fear, doubt, and we will manifest no good with that. But if instead we prepare here now for the future, we won't have to worry about looking behind our back. Because the only thing we should really be worried about is our own karma, the consequences of our own thoughts and actions. So if we are true to self, we don't have to worry about karma biting us in the ass. It's a lot easier then to strategize and move forward into the future with a plan, not having to worry about the negative karma that we have cultivated. No, we won't have to worry about that. We can then, at that point, use all of our energy for a positive outlook on the future, projecting positivity into the future. The more energy we have to waste walking on eggshells and watching our back, the less of our thought power and literally our physical power we will have to project a positive future. So be honest in your dealing. Be honest with yourself. Be honest in your thoughts, in your mind. And you will have nothing to worry about. Organize your thoughts carefully, lest you deceive yourself. Remember, this is the ally for this challenge. So how can that relate? We're transforming right now. We are transforming so that we can be the best version of ourselves and love ourselves unconditionally through this change and through all changes. As we come to understand there is a self behind it all that is never changing. That light that we emanate is the same light of the original light of creation. That's the light within ourselves that we're learning to love and trust. And so as we go through this shift, we remember what it's all for. We have compassion for ourselves through the shifting, through the changing, through the death of the old self. And we carefully observe through this great transformation we're experiencing. We carefully observe our thought processes. Those swords are like thoughts that we're gathering. We carefully observe each thought and place it where it will best be used in support of the manifestation of our new self. What that means is we might take some thoughts and throw them like in a mental shredder or something, burn them, get rid of them, however you do that in your mind's eye. Some thoughts need to be placed outside of our new vision. They don't align anymore. And then other thoughts should carefully be matched with new ones, revamped, refined, maybe tweaked a bit. But we're rewiring our brains right now to support the unfolding of the new self. And we're not going to deceive ourselves. We're going to be honest with ourselves. And if something comes up and we say, oh, well, I don't really have to change that part of myself because I can still do that and be this new me. It's okay. Well, be careful. Is that the voice of the new you, or is that the old you? Are you making excuses for yourself? Are you compromising? Because compromise won't work here for what we're trying to do. For this great transformation that we're trying to achieve, which includes not only a new version of ourselves that we're going to use to experience life at this time, but also includes the deeper lesson of loving ourselves through this change and all the ones to come. That's a big thing. We're using this particular change, as there will be many, we're using this particular change to understand something back of the change, to understand something about change in general, that there is something unmoving, unchanging, eternal about our nature that will always be present behind this change and every one to come. That's the more important part of the shift that we're going through right now. That's the lesson behind what we're going through right now. So we must remember that as we go through the shift. This is a special one. And we want to do this carefully. We want to make the most of this shift. We don't want to lie to ourselves, deceive ourselves, tell ourselves that it's okay to hold on to negative old habits for a little longer. Nope. The time is now. There's only now. We must take full advantage of this shift. Don't let sneaky little thoughts of self-loathing, self-hate, self-doubt creep in. Now is the time to love ourselves so much, despite what is changing on the outside. What is unchanging about you? How can you build a new you that will never forget how much it loves those parts of self that are always present? How can you carefully observe your thoughts and make sure that you eliminate all those thoughts that do not support the effortless remembrance of all those things you love about yourself that will never go away? If there are parts of you that don't love yourself, those parts need to go now. You need to be honest with how those thoughts have been destructive to the true you wish to be. Anything that does not support the overflowing love for self must go. Okay, I'm wondering if there's any other question. Okay, what is the best way? Who is the best archetype to embody right now, today, right here, right now, to guide us into this process? Now that we have this message, that death, transformation is the current challenge, that it's time for us to shift and grow and love ourselves through not only this change, but through all the changes to come. Now that we have that message, let us allow that to just sink into the subconscious. Let go of it. It's already in there. Let it effortlessly be integrated into our awareness, into our being. And what is the card that will be the bridge to dive into this cycle today? Who is the one to embody? Ooh. And another major arcanum card. I felt like there was another one that wanted to be shown, and this is a super powerful card. This is card 10 of the major arcanum, number 10 of the deck. the Wheel of Fortune. And this is all about a new beginning. So how I take this today is that this is the card, above all, to keep in mind as we step into this new cycle. So what does that mean? What does that look like? How do we do that today, right here, right now? Embrace the new. Expect a change. This is truly a new beginning. Truly, when you see this card and this card in a reading, these being 2 out of just 4 cards in a reading, you know it really is a new beginning. So what perfect cards for a new moon activation. So the best thing we can do as we step into this new cycle is expect a shift, expect a change, expect a new beginning. The tables are turning, and although we're blown by these winds of life, we're a part within this wheel of life, you know? But in a way, we also have the wheel in our hands on a microcosmic level. So although it is a new beginning, think about how you want this new beginning to go. It's up to you. You're writing this story. How can you today keep this wheel in mind and be observant of your reality inwardly and outwardly, and ask yourself again and again, what is new here? What new opportunities are being offered to me? How can I see the same old things I see every day in a new way? How can I look at me differently? How can I look at the way that I'm judging things differently? How can I perceive my reality differently? How can I communicate differently? This is you staying ahead of the game, being one step ahead and initiating this change. This is how you can be the ultimate alchemist today. Is say, okay, I know that this energy is upon us right now. This archetypal energy is back of all things right now, new. So how can I take the reins, take the lead, and initiate? When I know there's a new beginning, what I might do is say, I'm going to play a little game, and I'm going to use a new word today and see how the universe responds to me. I'm going to call someone up that I haven't spoken to in a long time, because that will bring some fresh energy. See what I'm saying? This is the way that you can align with the energies that are already incoming. We are one with these energies, so rather than resist them, we can get with them. So how can you do something new today? Try a new food, cook something new, bake something new. Go for a walk in some scenery that you've never seen before. Listen to some new music. The best thing to do is keep this wheel in mind today and know that truly a new season is beginning. Happy new moon, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this activation. If you're not subscribed yet, you can go to youtube.com/Rebecca Magic and hit subscribe. That way you never miss out on an activation video. Thank you for tuning in and contributing to this awesome message that came through the channel today. And I look forward to next week for the first quarter moon, kind of just seeing where we're all at individually and collectively on this journey right now of transformation. I'm excited. Dive in.